Dear colleagues, this is Jonas Gustafsson, and I'm super happy to be invited to this call with the Management Consulting team. I know that you have a big day, a fantastic celebration, so I'm just happy that I could participate for a few minutes. And just to give you a view then, I'm first of all super happy and impressed of the development of the management consulting business. As you know, then we joined forces at ÅF and Pöyry a couple of years back, and we had dialogues at that time. What would the management consulting contribute to the overall business? And what I can say, and we knew that before, that it's even been delivering even on the higher of our expectations. Then I think the relevance of AFRY as a group is getting even stronger with, or I would say that I don't think we could live without the management consulting business. First of all, the business per se is developing better than we even could have dreamed about. And Roland and you guys now have the challenge to double the business in a few years. I guess you will talk about that. But the impact it does also have on the other engineering related business is huge. We see that the society as a general is in big transformation as it goes. So traditional business needs to find new business models. There are new deals out there. And of course, our clients, even to a larger extent, needs our expertise. So that's where you and we are then extremely relevant. Yesterday, I visited Northvolt. Some of you know that up in the northern part of Sweden, there's a huge investments going on in the battery. They referred to you guys. The Peter Carlson, the CEO, knows pretty well that we have a really high-end management consulting capability in AFRY. So that's how strong the brand name of you guys have been spreading out to many of our clients. So you are part of the core business of AFRY. That's absolutely like that. And even with our new chairman, Tom Eriksson, he started his career at BCG. So you might know them. They are not as strong as we may be, but it's still a good company, Boston Consulting Group. What you say, Roland? So Tom knows very much also the capability and the strength that comes with having management consulting capability. So again, I will not spend more time of you have a cool agenda and an interesting day ahead of you, but I just want you to know that we are super happy what you are all doing. You are a strong part of the core business of AFRY. We want to grow management consulting moving forward, and Roland knows that, both organically, but also, find cool addition to our group, which we could potentially acquire, will also be a part of the journey moving forward. So thank you all for your fantastic work. Enjoy the celebration. And yes, I also would like to have a t-shirt, but that we can take another day. So thank you so much, guys, and enjoy the rest of the day.
Many thanks, Jonas. And first of all, I have to say, for sure, you will get the super nice t-shirts, a personal one, well designed. And as Matt was saying, you can even choose which one you want to take. So many thanks, Jonas, for your warm words and for all the support you personally have given us along our growth journey so far. And and you said it, we have bold plans ahead, so we count on your commitment to develop MCD as a strong sector-focused consultancy. And today it's my pleasure to welcome our more than 500 strong AFRY Management Consulting team. And the call today is not about numbers and strategy and offerings, what we normally do or what we normally have on our agenda for the MCD calls. The reasons why we are coming together today is to celebrate you as our great team of consultants and our support people at MCD. And yes, our brand and our super AFRY brand is important. Our tools, our databases are important. But I think the real value that we have as a company, that we have as a management consultancy, is our people. And to build a strong sector-focused consultancy with strong performance, globally operating, I think it requires a contribution of everyone in the team. And it starts with the analyst who just started in her first job supporting the delivery of an important client project, the senior manager who's heading a larger team or entity, or the colleagues who are working in a support team and providing an environment that the consultants can really focusing on sales, on delivery, and on value creation for our clients. But of course, I'm also asking myself, what is the glue between all of us that is necessary to grow the team further? And to my mind, it's a purpose. It's a purpose of what we are doing as a sector-focused consultancy along relevant transformations driven by sustainability and supported by digitalization. And as Jonas said, so much is happening in the world, and therefore we truly believe there is a place for a sector-focused consultancy. And in addition, it's our company values of being brave, of being devoted, and of being team players. And I think that you as a team, you have shown in the last couple of months and years that you're really brave, devoted team players. And to keep and to build a strong team going forward, we have to win and we have to integrate new colleagues. So Jonas said, we want to double the business. So we want to double the size of management consulting. And therefore, winning, integrating of new colleagues is super important. But on the other hand, that everyone feels this sense of belonging of something to stay with us for a good period of time. And that's why I also truly believe that diversity and inclusion is more relevant than ever for us as a team and for us within management consulting. But what do we mean by diversity and inclusion at AFRY and at MCD? And to answer this question, I'm super happy to welcome Sophie Klingenberg today to provide her perspective. But before I hand over to Sophia, I would like to briefly touch the topic of sustainability. We at MCD, we are providing great value in our projects, helping clients along the journey to become more sustainable, both in energy and in the bioindustry sectors. But how about the way we operate? I think sustainability, as we know, has many dimensions. And for us, maybe the gender diversity and reducing our environmental footprint might be the most obvious one. We are taking steps to provide an environment that allows an increase in the number of female colleagues and female leaders. And I think it's good to see that we are making progress in this important area. To reduce our footprint, we have certain actions in place, although we know that more needs to be done. And as I mentioned in our last MCD call, everyone can contribute to the initiatives we are now setting up or which are already up and running. So feel free to get in contact with Frederick and with Matt when you are interested to take more responsibility for this important part. But to further offset our emissions, and even if they are much lower than 18 months ago for obvious reasons, we took the decision in the management team to plant 5,000 trees to mark this special milestone for the division. And theoretically, over the next 10 years, and when the trees are getting treated well, this little MCD forest can store a couple of hundred tons of CO2. And more information will follow on this, to my mind, really exciting initiative. So once again, a super big thank you to all of you for your contribution, for your commitment, for your bravery. And now I would like to hand over to Sophia, who's working in Group HR with focus on diversity and inclusion for AFRY globally, as well as Sophia is leading the gender diversity target group for AFRY.
Thank you so much, Roland, and I'm really happy to be here. So my name is Sophia Klingenberg, and I work at Group HR with Inclusion and Diversity Matters at AFRY, and it's basically everything within inclusion and diversity. And since I can't meet you today, I really want to get to know you better and to know where you're at. So this section with me, it's going to be interactive. So first, I would like you to go into Menti. And there's a code that I want you to fill in, 90677353. And the question is just so I can get the feeling a little bit, since I know you're a very diverse division and you're based in a lot of places in the world, I would like to know, where are you in the world? Because at AFRY, our people is the biggest asset, and we believe in the power of diversity. It's actually the only thing that we have is our people. And, you know, diversity really matters, and this is something that we can track. It's not something that research always are reminding us on. We are constantly working with this because we can measure that diversity matters, and it's all about our people. Here you can see, I mean, I'm really proud that you have reached 500 employees at Management Consulting, but here you can see that we are more than 16,000 employees at AFRY globally. And we are based in many countries, we speak more than 50 languages, and we have assignments all over the world. And I just want to mention what I am working with is that I work with all the discrimination grounds at AFRY, because it's all about making an inclusive organization. And it's about sex, religion and other beliefs, age, transgender identity or expression, ethnicity, disability, or sexual orientation. It doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is you, and you are the most important thing at AFRY, and we want to retain you and your competence within the organization. So now I hope that you have answered my first question. Where are you in the world? Let's see if we have any results here. It's supposed to be a word cloud. Oh, wow, we have Oxford, Helsinki, Munich, Italy, Berlin, Hamburg, Stockholm. Oh, nice. Düsseldorf, Munich. I'm currently myself sitting at the Gothenburg office here in Sweden. Vanta, I know, is a very big office for MCD. And Zurich, Finland. Wow, there's a lot of results coming in. And I just really want you to know that I'm really proud of the work that you're doing within MCD, and it's so nice that you took the time and are participating in this call. So thank you so much for participating in the World Cloud. Let's move to the other slide. Because as today you're celebrating 500 employees, and that's a great achievement. But what about inclusion? I mean, what about the people again? Because it's all about development, growth, retention, and reaching your full potential. I will now briefly go through soon the definitions of what is inclusion and diversity and what does it actually mean. So for all of you out in the organization, I just want to say I'm proud of your achievement, and Jonas said it before, and also Roland. And now I really hope that that you will, continue working for MCD, and that you're going to be successful in your assignments, and most important, that you feel that you can be yourself working for MCD at AFRY. Now I will explain a little bit more about our values, because you often have heard about brave, devoted team players, but if you look at what we actually mean with brave, because I really, really like the definitions here, because it's actually inclusion and diversity really, explained in a very good way. So, for example, I love the part in brave that we are, for example, we think big, beyond convention, increase value to make it impact. And we take a stand for what we believe in, and also for devoted, a unique mix of competences, and we're passionate within our field. And for team players, the best part that I see is that we believe in the power of differences. And if we move on, we can also see again about what we see about our people, because we know that inclusive and diverse teams with deep sector knowledge is the key for success. And it's all you out there doing this amazing work, and it's important that that you feel that you are, that you can contribute with your best, your best achievement, and also that now I just want to remind you that we have our employee engagement survey out. It's important for you to give your feedback into the organization so that we can get better, because we can get better, we can get a lot better, but we're out there and we're trying to do our best. And talking about strategy, because if you look on our strategy here, this is all very high level, but I still think it's really important to talk about strategy when it comes to inclusion and diversity. Here you see again, who are we? What is our ambition? How do we get there? And we have the brave, devoted team players. We are making future, accelerate the transition towards a sustainable society. And again, inclusive and diverse teams with deep sector knowledge. But I want you to think of AFRY, like the AFRY strategy, as a cake. So when we're making a cake, we need milk, egg, flour, butter, sugar, and then we're making a cake together. And in the AFRY cake, the most important ingredients are also inclusion and diversity, because if we don't include what is the best, the most important at AFRY, our people, and to always have in the back of our minds that, okay, our people are diverse. We all are unique human beings. And competence comes in all shapes, colors, backgrounds, ethnicity. It doesn't matter. And we always have to be aware of that. We want to try to make sure that we not include, are excluding anyone in our recruitment processes. Or why are people staying at AFRY, and the people that are not staying at AFRY? It's really important to get to know, how can we get better? So inclusion and diversity needs to be part of the DNA and the key ingredients in the cake that I'm referring to here, the AFRY strategy, which is the DNA of AFRY. I want to explain about one of our sustainability targets, and that is the gender diversity target. And thank you, Roland, for mentioning it. This is something that I work a lot with currently. It's one of our sustainability targets, and it's about increasing inclusion, diversity of background, culture, and gender. And it's about that we're going to reach 40% female leaders by 2030. And to be totally honest with you, today we are going like this. It's not so much improvement, but we have been doing a lot of research and a lot of gap analysis and how we can actually make this tangible. How can we get the gender diversity target more concrete into the organization? And it's about nudging, it's about brave leadership, it's about recruiting competence and getting the best people in, because it's of course here we want to improve, we want to increase our female employees and female leaders for this matter, but we also have to think about the men are part of the solution. It's about inclusion, and equality is for everybody. So I will keep you posted about this target, because things will happen with this target. Now I will talk more about diversity. What is diversity and what does it actually mean? Because if you think about diversity, we are all unique human beings. We're all actually diverse. Because there's no one just like me. We're all unique. But diversity is actually who we are hiring, who are sitting, around the table or are participating on teams here today. That is diversity. And so if everybody looks the same, then we probably are missing a lot of perspectives, because that's the key factor, just to be aware of that if we are recruiting in the same channels and always thinking, going for the low-hanging fruits and always thinking like in the same manners, then nothing will change. So always think about that. Diversity is the persons that we are letting into our nice offices at AFRY now when we can finally meet again, and the people that are participating in the meetings and sitting around the conference rooms. But what about inclusion then? Well, inclusion is actually how we welcome our people. If we look on the next slide here, thank you. So diversity is the person that the person that are working here, okay. And if everybody looks the same, then we have to think about, okay, we might change things. But inclusion, that is actually, okay, so we are trying our best to get a diverse workforce. But if we don't include our people, if we don't listen to their ideas, if we don't let them contribute in meetings, and that they feel that they can, feel that they are really can reach their potential, then it's exclusion. So it's important to always have that in mind. How do we act towards each other? How do we let our colleagues participate? How do we treat each other? And you see in this picture here, it's a nice feeling when you feel like I can be myself and I'm here because of my competence and who I am, like, for example, what sexual orientation or gender identity I have, it doesn't matter, because at AFRY, it's always competence that matters. But if we look at the next slide here, because now we're going to change, because we've been talking about how it is with diversity inclusion at our offices, in our meetings. What about if you go to a party? And I don't know how many of you, like I have been experienced it a lot, when you go to a party, but I'm there. I got invited to this party, not because it was me, maybe it was my friend or somebody else. And I'm coming to the party and I feel like maybe it's not really nice here, because I don't know anyone, and I feel quite awkward. And the inclusion part is like, when everybody are dancing together, and you feel like, for example, it can be two persons dancing together, but this feeling of, when you're dancing together in a ring and you put your bags, in between, and you're like, this feeling of when you're like dancing together, that's a really nice feeling of inclusion that I feel like, okay, it's a really nice party. I'm here because I'm me and they like me to be here, but I also feel like I can participate to dance. And then the next step is this with belonging. And belonging is like when I truly feel that I can be myself, regardless of, my sexual identity or my religion or background or skin color, doesn't matter, gender. And it's just when I feel like I'm dancing like no one is watching. So now I have explained a little bit about our strategy, our targets, what inclusion and diversity is, and a lot more. But now I would like you to participate, because we have one more Menti question and we have a few minutes left. And here I would like you to think of, what does inclusion and diversity mean to you? And I want to say that this is a very safe area, like we can't identify who's writing what. And so just think of this. What does it mean to you? And I think that it's nice if a lot of you would like to participate. I see with a lot of people in the call here, and maybe this your results and your thoughts about this maybe could help the division, maybe with some great insights. So once again, try to go to menti.com, and the code is 90677353. So think about inclusion and diversity. Which of them is the most important to you, and why? So I will give you some time. Okay, wonderful. Things are coming in here. Creativity, inclusion, respect. Equality, inclusion. Really nice. Okay. This one I like. Valuing diversity of ways of working and personality, assuming positive intent, uplifting colleagues. Really great. Openness, equality. Wonderful. You have some really good thoughts here. Let's see. And I think I just want to encourage all of you to really think about, how do we act towards each other? How do we meet each other now when we can finally go to our offices? And maybe some of you are still working remotely. Like, honestly, I didn't like working remotely at all in the beginning, but now I just realized that maybe I'm an extrovert person, but I just realized that I also enjoy being at home a lot because I can be in my pajamas and I don't have to cycle to work every day. So just try about that. Like, how do you feel like when you can, be yourself at AFRY? Okay, so learning from others, opportunity, belonging, no discrimination of gender, nationality, religion, sexual orientation. To treat all colleagues the same, no matter who they are from, or what the sexual orientation is. Thank you so much. I can actually just say that AFRY has started our LGBTQI journey. We did an amazing interview during the Inclusion and Diversity Week. So regarding sexual orientation and gender identity, things will happen more with this area, because I feel like with the discrimination grounds, we've been working a lot with ethnicity and gender, but we need to be a lot better in the other discrimination grounds. So things will happen. And if you're interested to learn more about inclusion and diversity and what is happening at AFRY, we have a SharePoint site at the AFRY portal. It's on the first place next to a brand toolbox. There you can read more about the work that is done with inclusion and diversity. So thank you so much for all of your great insights here. We have equality in hiring processes, only dependent on skills and experience. Very, very good. And I think in terms of hiring processes, AFRY can be better. We always have to hire because of competence, not because of gender or taking low-hanging fruits. We always have to think about what competence do we need for our assignments. And there is a new recruitment system coming in. It's going live in a few weeks. It's called Smart Recruiters, and I think that tool can actually help AFRY to be better in inclusive recruitments. So things are improving at AFRY. We are trying our best to be the best within inclusion and diversity, and but we are not perfect today. We know that this matters and we want to do a good job. Thanks again. We have empathy, diversity, new work, inclusion of belonging and being a part of something bigger. Very good. Diversity at its comes at first. Truly believe that we are already a very inclusive company. Wow, thank you. That's I'm happy that you think that. I'm also proud of the work that it's currently doing and that it's happening in the divisions. And what I see is a key factor for making this happening is brave leaders. And I actually want to give say something to you, Roland, because there was an image of you in the AFRY Insights where you were sitting on the floor and laughing, and in your position being that, showing that kind of your personality in a really nice way. I really like that image of you. And if you haven't read the AFRY Insight there's an interview about Roland. It's a very, very good interview and some great things about inclusion and diversity. Now my time is almost over, so thank you so much for participating and listening to me. And don't remember the cake. If you don't have inclusion and diversity in the cake, it will taste bad and no one will ever eat it. So thank you so much for letting me participating in this call, and good luck and celebration on the Management Consulting division, more than 500 employees. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sophia. It's brilliant to hear all of your insights and very interesting to see all of the answers coming in from the team. Thank you so much. Well, talking of brave leaders, we get to hear from a couple of our leaders in the division. So I'm delighted to welcome from the divisional management team, Sarah Söderberg, who leads our bioindustry business area, and Matt Brown, who leads our energy business area. And I've got a couple of questions for them, leading on from the diversity and inclusion topic. First, questions for Sarah, and that is, so thinking about diversity and inclusion, what do you think our biggest challenge is, and what are your thoughts on how to address it?
Thank you, Abby, for the important question, or a good question on an important topic. In my opinion, the biggest challenge, there are a few of those, but the biggest is actually in our own minds, and that is to challenge the usual, our learned way of thinking and behaving, acting, basically the patterns of behavior that that all of us have in what we do in everyday's life, in everything that we do. I think I really liked Sophia's example of making the cake. Let's every once in a while try the new recipes as well. I mean, inclusion of all the important ingredients, and occasionally with new recipes as well. And as this biggest challenge, the one that in my opinion is in our own minds, it lies within every one of us. The transition will be rather slow in changing every one of us, and it does demand additional efforts to succeed. It is like any change. The status quo is the one that the least energy is used, but when you get to the change, it does demand a lot more. But I strongly believe, and this is kind of my own personal mantra as well, that where there is a will, there is a way. So challenge yourself, be open-minded. Keep the strategy for life, the strategy for the company, clearly in your mind and also in your targets. So be determined and consistent in your own actions, because you are responsible for your own actions. And that way you lead coherent strategy execution, your own life strategy or the company strategy.
Thank you. That's great. We've got a lot of power in the division with 500 people if we all take that approach. So that's really great advice. Thank you, Sarah. So we are turning to our other sustainability targets with a question for Matt, who is, as many people might know, very passionate about the sustainability topic. So Matt, thinking about our ambitions to increase net positive impact through our projects and to reach net zero as a company, what do you think our biggest challenge is there, and how can all of our 500 people make a difference?
Now, it says my mic is muted. Is it muted?
No, it's not. You're on.
Oh, thank goodness. Right, okay, I thought I'd get that wrong. First of all, before I answer the question, my T-shirt didn't turn up in time, so I had a little help making an adjusted T-shirt, some creativity. I'd like to take credit for it, but I can't because I didn't do it. So very many thanks to my wife who came up with the idea actually, and the execution. Fabulous. And I'd just like to say how excited I am that we're more than 500 people and growing fast. So that's super. The topic of net zero, of sustainability, those you may know, sustainability especially very close to my heart. And back, just to give a bit of personal story, maybe back, it was in the early 90s, I started getting very worried about climate change, and I borrowed some money and did a master's course in that area and focused in energy. And I thought at the time about going into, say, Friends of the Earth or something like that. But I decided to go into consulting, and I thought much better to be, I feel like being inside and advising clients is a better place to be in this area, as all these clients start making that transition, or have been making that transition. And there's so many transitions that have to make to really make a sustainable society. So that's been, you know, that's been my story, and it's been a long, slow process. And I really feel like on the energy side now, the transition is in full swing, and we have so much opportunity. And so in terms of what we're doing with our clients, and not only of course in energy, but in the bioindustry side as well, and hopefully in future, you know, as AFRY already, you know, future food, all the areas that AFRY covers. So in future in MCD, perhaps some other areas as well. But I think so much of what we do is helping clients with the transition, with that journey. Not all, but if we can get better relationship with the client, really grow that relationship with the client, and then really be the partner with them on that journey that they're making, on that journey, then we can make a massive difference. That's my view, and really be helping society make the change by working with some of the biggest clients, some of the biggest companies, some of the biggest emitters today, and helping them make that difference. So I think that's a massive challenge for us. But I think another challenge for us when we think about it is, what are we not willing to do? You know, and I was so pleased to see that we stepped out of new coal-fired power stations. I didn't personally believe it was possible to maintain that position. But at some point, you know, we're asking ourselves the question, what about all fossil fuels? Should we step out of all fossil fuels? When is that the right time? And you've got to balance the need to, you know, provide energy to people with this net zero target. And then the second part of the question, in terms of our own direct impact, what can we do? I'm really pleased to see more schemes popping up, which are enabling our consultants to actually do that directly. So a personal experience, you know, it's been brought in a electric vehicle leasing scheme in the UK business, across all the businesses. That sort of thing, where when people are driving in future, they have that option. It's a really beneficial option, and we can bring that sort of thing in. The tricky one, the biggest challenge for me, is the flights, and how do we do that? And if we want to be net zero, what sort of net zero are we doing? And I think, you know, we're doing a lot of work in what proper net zero means, and what carbon reduction actually means, rather than, you know, some of the offsets you can get, which are really just you know, changes from a baseline. So I think we need to be careful when we make ourselves this challenge of net zero, that we're doing it properly. And 2040, I think, is our target. Seems to me that's quite some time off. I think as MCD, well, let's challenge ourselves. Let's have the conversation. Can we do it quicker, faster? And you know, we'll be having those discussions, taking those hard questions, hard decisions. So I think that's where I'll leave it.
Thanks, Matt. That's brilliant, and I think that you're speaking about our purpose will ring true with a lot of people in the division. I see a lot of passion for sustainability, and it's really great to be empowered by leaders such as you yourself, Sarah and Roland. I think our values allow us to really all individually also make an impact. I can see that there's a question, and we do have time for Sophia to answer that. Would that, Sophia, are you available to answer that? I can read it out for you.
Yeah, please do that.
Okay, so it's regarding the gender gap target of 40% of the leadership being female by 2030. This gender gap greatly stems from the fact that there is a gender bias with regard to subject interests from a young age onwards. Of course, trying to get a diverse workforce is a step in the right direction as a company. But the main issue that needs to be tackled is to get young children, girls for this target, to become interested in management consulting, engineering, the energy sector, bioindustry. Are we doing anything as a company to get children interested in our type of business?
Yes, very, very good question. And you are absolutely right. We know that, for example, in in the Nordic countries, I think it's approximately 30% females that are studying engineering. In other countries, it's even lower. In certain countries in Europe, I know Switzerland, for example, is quite low. But then there are other countries that are really interesting to follow. For example, in Asia and also in Russia, it's 50-50%. But what we are doing currently is like we have, for example, in Sweden, we have initiatives with Introduce a Girl to Engineering, and there are other, initiatives for, letting girls being more interested in engineering and science. So what we are currently planning for is to have initiatives on a global level, both in a long-term perspective, so like attracting younger girls, and also in a shorter perspectives in terms of attracting students, and also being an attractive employer so that women and non-binary are interested in working at AFRY. So it's both on a very long-term scale and also in a shorter scale. So things will happen in this area, I'm sure.
Thanks, and thanks to the person who shared that great question. Good, well, we are coming to the end of the call, but we are not coming quite to the end of the celebration of the MCD 500, because I do have a bit of a challenge for everybody, or we have a bit of a challenge for everybody on the call over the next days and weeks and even months. We have people in the division should all be receiving a t-shirt. Some have already received it, some are yet to receive it. And we've had some really nice team selfies coming up on Yammer recently. You can see some examples there as people can meet up again. So we wanted to challenge everybody and see some more pictures like this, but with the t-shirts. So this is the thing that we can continue enjoying for the next few weeks, and those are photos of you yourselves with your teams, with your colleagues, all wearing this AFRY Management Consulting 500 t-shirt when you receive it. Please post those to Yammer and share them with the rest of the team. I'm really excited to see lots of different faces from management consulting, and even do this digitally as well. So if you're working remotely, you can take a digital screenshot. We just really want to see everybody's faces from the division together, all 500 if possible, and more. Good, well, we are at the end of the call. I'd like to thank everybody, our special guests Jonas and Sophia, for their contribution, for joining us to celebrate the special occasion, to Roland and to Matt and Sarah for their words, and to everybody who's participated today. It's been really good to get together and mark the occasion with you. So with that, we are going to close the call. We look forward to seeing your photos. Please remember to hashtag them so we can identify them and look at them all together, and we will share the slides and the video and the recording as usual after the call. Thanks so much. Have a nice weekend, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.